Well, hello there. By clicking on this, I presume you already share the point of view that gaming companies are damn greedy nowadays. So I won't be trying to explain that this is a fact, but more so how it became a reality. As a little bit of context, I have been working in the gaming industry for quite a few years. I won't disclose for who, since they're a little bit too good of an example of what I'll be talking about. So, how did we come to this? Battle Pass, subscriptions, let's buy more skins, and whoops, the game doesn't even exist anymore. I'm assuming most of you already know that it didn't always happen to be like this. I won't go into details about the history of video games, but when it first started, people were actually making games for the fun of it. And furthermore than that, because it was also a brand new media. Therefore, a new form of art, a new way of expressing yourself, and a lot of things to discover. Same could be said for the consumers or the players. Back then, everything was new. There were new mechanics, new visuals. Everything was moving quite fast, including technology advances, and people were always on board with it. What's gonna be next? What's gonna be new? People were excited. Hey, I remember when going to the arcades was the best thing ever. Or even going to my friend's place because they just got a brand new game and they're like, hey, wanna come over and try it out? So what exactly has changed since then, and why do we feel so disappointed in games nowadays? Well, capitalism came in, said, hey, you were right earlier, it's a new media, meaning it's a new way of making money. And sadly, as with almost anything capitalism puts its dirty little hands onto, it became less good than it was. Now, anyone's able to come up to that conclusion, but fun fact, capitalism alone is not the only thing that brought forth the downfall of the gaming industry. Another very important factor in all of this is the availability of games. Back when you actually had to buy a physical copy of the game, it changed things a little. This was a final product being put on the shelves. Nowadays, you can just download any game from anywhere in a few seconds. This didn't used to be the case. I remember waiting for the modem to finish making creepy sounds just in order to access a basic web page. Now, this should seemingly be a good thing for the consumers, as we can get games more easily. However, what this also means is that for video game developers or publishers, there's a lot more competition than used to be. Anyone can download a game from anywhere, so why would they choose yours? Could argue that this also came to be a great thing for indie game developers, since they can now make their games available to the public, which was much harder when you had to actually create and sell physical media. Now, if we sum it up so far, what does this mean? The capitalist mindset has already settled in the gaming industry. We already acknowledge that this is a new way to make money. In addition to that, the availability of games makes more competition. And what does that create? What does it mean exactly? And what does it mean for big video game developers or publishers? Well, it means that by this point, big video game companies are stressed out. They want you to buy their game and only their game. Why would you buy someone else's game? They need to make money. And the approach that sadly most of them took is let's make them bigger, more flashy, more impressive. This way people will buy our game. While that strategy initially worked pretty well, nowadays it's not so true anymore because bigger, flashier doesn't mean better. And while the gaming industry in itself still has to notice that, consumers already did. Us players are tired. Simply tired of playing the same games over and over again. This is actually where most big companies are shooting themselves in the foot, since indie game developers don't have the means to make bigger, flashier games. What they will focus on are new mechanics. Does that remind you of something? That's how games used to be made. New mechanics, stuff people haven't seen before, new stories, not just the same shit over and over again. Anyways, now you may ask, why don't big companies do the same? They could focus on making new mechanics and interesting stuff that we haven't yet seen, but they're scared of it. The truth is, they're scared of it. They prefer relying on something they have proof that people will actually come back to and buy again. Making something new in a corporation's mind is risky. It's expensive. and you don't have any guarantees it's gonna work. So they simply don't. They don't do the effort anymore. And now you may ask, yeah, but indie games developers still do. What's the difference? Well, the difference is big companies want to make big games, as stated earlier. And if the game is not big enough, it's gonna seem in their mind like a failure. Although a very simple game with great mechanics often wins the heart of most of us. And that also explains the incredible delays. If we take, for example, GTA at the moment, they're spending years extra just to polish the game. What does that mean, polish? Well, in their mind, polishing the game is making sure it's up to standards. And again, that's where big companies go wrong. Don't rely on standards, rely on innovation, creativity, and a bare f***ing minimum of respect for your clients. But the real problem is they simply won't listen. They don't listen to their clients, their players. They don't even listen to their employees. The only people they ever listen to is people they themselves hire to do business analysis. Those people don't know about games, they don't even care about them. All they care about is money. And this is why most big game companies are actually doomed to fail. They're gonna all get bought out in a few years because capitalism. Hey, it's something that makes money. I'm a bigger company, I'll buy it out. I don't even need to know what it is. I don't know. I don't care. It makes money, I'll buy it. That, sadly, is the state of things right now. And if you want to hope for a better future for video games, support your local indie devs. They're the ones who actually still thrive to make things the way they should be made. I wish. I wish I didn't have to be so brutally honest and that things could be different. But they won't be. Thanks for listening.